Hi everybody, I'm Emily with the Quilted Cow, and today I'm excited to show you the basket duet that is part of the subscription box for June. So first, I'd like to thank our sponsors. We are sponsored by Wilmington Prints, Creative Grids, Cutters, Mats, and Rulers, and Husqvarna Viking Machines. Let's get started. Okay, so this is called the basket duet. It is two of the same baskets in different sizes, and this is that project that comes in your June subscription box. The pattern is sold separately, but what you can do is you can head on over to our website and find a kit that you like, grab yourself the pattern, and then let's get started sewing. So make sure you do get yourself your kit. If you got it in the subscription box, go ahead and sew along with me. Now, I am going to be making this out of the Au Naturel fabric that is a Wilmington Prints, and this project is really super simple. Your pattern is going to have the instructions for both sizes. So, like I said, make sure you grab the pattern because it is sold separately unless you got the subscription box, and then of course the pattern is included in that. So what we're going to do is we're going to start off by cutting strips of fabric, and those strips of fabric are then going to be pieced together. Now this is for the small size, so you end up with 6 different fabrics, 6 different strips for the small size. The large size actually has, I believe it's 8 different strips that you put together. So you're going to go ahead and cut your strips and then put your strips together. Now there is an option on the pattern that if you wanted to just do one fabric for the inside, one fabric for the outside, then you can just cut your piece to the size that you need and then move on from there if you're not piecing that. So grab your strips, piece for the lining part of the kit, piece for the lining part of the basket, and then we're going to start making the basket. So what I've got here is I have a piece of foam and the bottom part of the basket fabric. So the pattern's going to tell you exactly how much you need to cut on that. And then what the instructions tell you to do is to go ahead and sew a line on all 4 sides. You're going to sew 4 lines. And it's very important to sew these lines whenever you do. But you're going to mark and sew a line. This, I believe, is 3 1/4 inches from the outside edge on all 4 sides. So on that line all the way around. And then you're going to come back in and you're going to cut squares out of each side of this. Now, there's a couple ways you can do that. First, you can grab a ruler and you can grab a cutter and you can go to town. You can put your ruler where you need it to and go to town doing that. I don't necessarily like to do that with the foam. When I'm cutting through foam, I have a tendency to overcut, and so then I get into that 1/4 inch seam allowance, and I don't want to do that with this. So what I do is I grab my ruler and I'm going to mark with a friction pin. You put your ruler on here, you line it up, just mark that 3-inch corner right there. And then I like to grab my large Karen K Buckley scissors for this because they go through so easily and so nice. And you just cut that out just right there and work your way around the whole entire basket bottom, cutting that out. Once you've got that cut out, then you can move on to the next step, and that is putting your handles on. So let's talk about the handles real quick. The handles are super easy to make. You have cut out rectangles that it states in the pattern, and then you're also going to cut out a little bit of lightweight fusible interfacing. So that lightweight fusible interfacing is going to get fused to the wrong side of your handle fabric. Always make sure it's the wrong side, and of course the bumpy side is the glue side, so make sure that's the side that's touching the fabrics. The first thing you're going to do is you're going to fold the short end of the handle fabric over a 1/2 inch. And you do that on both sides, press that really well. Then you're going to fold it in half, and you're going to press that really well. Once you've got that crease, that nice pressed crease, you're going to open it back up and fold and press your raw edges, the long raw edges, in towards that center crease. Both sides. Once you get those, get a nice press on that, then lay it all together and go ahead and do a nice press with that, and that's going to make this nice and flat. Then you're going to take this over to your sewing machine and you're going to top stitch all the way around that handle piece. So once you've got those made, once you've got all your handles made, you're going to position those on your basket. Now, in order to position those onto your basket, the location that you want to position those onto your basket, for the small one, you're going to measure 1 3/4 inches down and 1 1/4 inches in from the side. So once you've got that sewn on, you're going to sew about a 3/8 inch rectangular box all the way around. So get those sewn on, get your handles sewn on to both ends. And once you're finished with that, it's time to move on to the next step. All right, so we've got that. We've got our lines sewn. We've got the handles put on. Now it's time to start making this look a little bit like a basket. So let's start that process. What we're going to do is we're going to leave this with the right sides up. So our right sides are together, and we're going to fold this up just like this. And you see where that 1/4 inch seam that we've already sewn on there, it's going to meet up and you're going to basically sew right on that 1/4 inch seam. So that's kind of your 1/4 inch seam allowance. Now, I told you to do these lines here, these stitching lines right here. One of the reasons why we want to do that is so that whenever the basket is all folded up, it folds really, really nice and sharp. So you get a nice sharp rectangle shape once it's all sewn together. That's the main reason why we want to do that. So go ahead and fold these right sides together. You're going to take this over to the machine. I'm going to go ahead and take this to the machine. I'm going to show you how to stitch one of these down. All right, so this just gives you an idea of what this is going to start looking like, the basket that it's starting to become. Once you get all 4 of those seams sewn, by the way, I do like to backstitch a little bit at the beginning and end just to make sure that everything stays nice and secure, especially if you're kind of being maybe a little bit rough with the basket later on whenever you're decorating with it. You might need a little bit of extra security on those corner seams. So once you've got that all sewn together, you're going to end up with a shape like this once you turn it right side out. So this is the basket right side out, and I'm going to set this aside for just a few moments and work with the lining fabric. All right, so we're going to work with the lining fabric, and we need to cut out our squares in the corner for each piece of the lining that we have. So this one is actually going to cut out a 5 1/4 inch square out of the corner. And whenever I do this, I do like to go ahead and use my rotary cutter for this. I don't necessarily mark and use my scissors. One of the reasons for that is that whenever I'm just cutting through a single layer of fabric, that I'm not overshooting it with my rotary cutter. I'm not having to go too far over. If I don't quite get it all cut off, I'll grab a pair of scissors and clip that at that edge. But for the large size, it's a 5 1/4 square that we want to cut out of the corners. Once you get your corners cut out, you're going to sew the corners together, right sides together, much like we did with the basket. So in order to do that, you're just going to line up your top edge and line up the corner, and you're going to sew a 1/4 inch all the way down that side. And once again, I do like to clip these. I don't necessarily like to pin. All right. As you can see, it is starting to take basket shape. And then once you get all 4 of those corners done, now's the time that we're going to pull out the iron and iron it a little bit more. Really, the only times I've actually had to press anything in this project is whenever you sew your strips together. Make sure you press your seams really well. And then also whenever you are adhering your fabric to your foam if you need to, and then with the handles. So ironing isn't a big deal with this project. It's not too big of a deal. The only thing that we need to do next, though, is we do need to go ahead and press our raw edge of our basket lining towards the wrong side of the fabric a 1/2 inch. The last step of this process is to put it together. We're going to put the lining inside the basket, and in order to do that, we're going to turn the lining wrong side out again. And we're going to place it down inside the basket. You're going to want to match up your side seams, your corner seams here. Get all your corners nice and matched up. And then once that's done, just give it a good smoothing from the center out to the edges. And once you have that done, you're just going to fold down this edge all the way around. Grab yourself some Wonder Clips if you'd like. I like to work with the jumbos whenever I'm working with foam. And if you have a stray thread here and there, just tuck it up inside that lining. But I'm going to go ahead and clip where those corners are coming together. Once you've got all that folded over, you can take the iron to this and give it a quick press if you would like, and just bring this up. And it's a little bit difficult to see, but I'm just going to bring it up and give that a quick press just to give it a nice crease right there on the edge. All right, so I'm going to put my clips back on just to hold everything where I want it to be held. And then I'm going to take this over to the machine and I'm going to top stitch really, really close to the folded edge on the outside of the bag. I'm sorry, on the outside of the basket. So we've got everything nice and smoothed out and workable. One of the things, once again, if you've not experienced one of these machines before, or if you have experienced one of these machines and it doesn't look like you're going to be able to fit your basket over it, there is what's called a free arm to this machine. You just move the accessories case, or in some cases the snack case, off of the machine, and you can lay this down and line up your fabric wherever you need it underneath of where the foot goes. So like I said, I'm going to top stitch all the way around, just really, really close to that folded edge. So keep that in mind and stay real close to that. If you want, you can go a little bit further up. If you want to do about an 1/8 inch top stitch, it is completely up to you. All right, so this is the completed basket. I've got my threads all clipped. It's ready to go. You'll notice that I top stitched really close to that folded edge. One of the other things that you want to make sure that as you're top stitching, you want to make sure you keep your handles out of the way so you're not catching those in. Otherwise, you're not going to be able to use them very well. And also, as I was going along, I kind of kept my fingers underneath as I was leading it under so that my fingers would help smooth out the lining fabric just in case it accidentally gets pleated in there or something like that. But this is the smaller size of the basket duet. So this one is the smaller size, like I said. You can make both sizes. This is the kit. This is the fabrics that you're going to get in your June subscription box. Otherwise, head on over to thequiltedcow.com, grab yourself a kit. Make sure you do pick up the pattern. The pattern is sold separately. So pick up the pattern, grab yourself a kit, and start making the baskets that you want to make. Have a wonderful day. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our videos, and thank you so much for watching.
Okay, you wicked cool quilters, good job. You made it to the end. We would like to thank our sponsors, Husqvarna Viking Sewing Machines, Creative Grids, rulers, rotary cutters, and mats, and Wilmington Prints for the beautiful fabrics. Thanks for watching.